why don't we begin with a clearly defined overview for the folks at home of what respect for life is and how it manifests itself in our everyday lives?
It's a good question, and I gave it some thought, thinking, that we need to respect all of life. We're not just talking about a certain grouping in the human family, but all of life, including plants, animals, all that God has created. And so I thought, if we approach it from that point of view, and that God is the author of life, then we will be able to begin to look at it from a perspective of what is the best way to show respect for life. And we want to kind of focus on the unborn, the newborn, the early part of life. But we just want to know that if we're going to show real respect, we have to realize that God shared his life with them, and he wants us to also share life and respect them as well.
Very good. Now, is the taking of another human life the ultimate sin? Are there exceptions to this? For example, the death penalty. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, taking of human life is a very serious thing, and ultimately, if there is no reason in terms of how we show the respect, then yes, it is, I think, the ultimate sin. The exceptions would be, trying to protect ourselves, a self-defense kind of thing, in the terrorist attack, let us say, or in war. There's conflict there. We certainly don't want to promote that, but if that does occur, we would see that there is sufficient reason to protect yourself and maybe take someone else's life. Now, as far as the death penalty, you raised that as an example. Generally, I would say in our culture today, and the way that we're able to handle this regarding imprisonment and protection of people in our society, there's really not a good reason for the death penalty in my mind.
Right. Okay. Now, our country's previous leadership, and I'm referring to Donald Trump's term, it's considered not only the most Catholic-friendly, but also the most specifically pro-life oriented administration in American history by many. Now, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree. Based on the knowledge I have about the things that he's tried to do during his term of office as president.
Right. Okay. So for most of us, that information is something we just hear in passing, and really only know the broad strokes, not so much the fine print. But explain for people from your unique vantage point exactly what all of that meant for the Catholic Church from 2017 through early 2021, possibly even beyond, depending on how much is preserved. And how did that differ from previous administrations?
Based on my knowledge, the fact is that he did put a lot of emphasis on trying to promote religious liberty for our churches, the freedom to gather and continue to worship. Yes, we needed to, and we have continued to observe CDC guidelines for safe distancing and wearing masks and things like that. But he's not basically telling us shut down your churches, even though there have been a few governors in some of our states that have gone a little to the extreme on that. As far as the leadership of our current, not current, but our previous administration and president, he was pretty much support of religious liberty, and of course, much that he did in terms of legislation and respect for the unborn, continuing to promote the Hyde Amendment, for example, where there would not be federal funding to directly support abortion. I think I heard about, I think it's called the Protect Life rules, where it would prohibit Title X funds given directly to abortion providers. He was much more concerned about controlling that money and how it was used to show true respect rather than to advocate for more abortions or to make it easier for an abortion.
Right. Well, there's a lot of controversy surrounding our current administration when it comes to matters of right to life versus right to choose, among other things. So before we delve into the details of that, let's get a clear understanding of where the Catholic Church stands exactly on abortion. Obviously, it's against it, but what specifically does the Bible say, and how does that translate to our modern lives? Maybe you can walk us through this topic in a way that people haven't heard all the time before.
Well, I'd like to use specifically two scriptural references. The first one is taken from the very first book of the Bible, the book of Genesis, and it is just the short verses, chapter 1, verses 26 and 28, in which I share with you, God said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, the cattle, and over all the wild animals and all the creatures that crawl on the ground." God created man in his image. In the divine image he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them, saying, "Be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." I think that kind of captures a sense of the purpose that God has given to us, and it seems to me that our purpose is to continue to bring new life into our world and not to abort it or to end the life of a child that's already been born in infanticide.
Right, of course.
And the other passage that I'd like to share is taken from Psalm 139, chapter 13 to 15. "Truly you have formed my inmost being. You knit me in my mother's womb. I give you thanks that I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul also you knew full well, nor was my frame unknown to you. When I was made in secret, when I was fashioned in the depths of the earth." And the reference there seems to be that God knows us from the moment we are conceived in the mother's womb, and we're a gift. We're special in God's eyes. We should be treated that way.